Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. This is going to be a kind of different episode today, everybody. In general, I like talking to you guys about a lot of different financial concepts because on this particular channel, I essentially give you roughly a six-figure MBA level worth of investing and financial advice for free here on YouTube. And the things that I teach, a lot of people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn. I'm giving to you guys for free. But at the end of the day, people, it does not matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. It does not matter what color your skin is. At the end of the day, if your mental health is not where it should be or whatever, there are going to be some issues you're going to have along the way as far as trying to build that generational wealth for you, for your son, for your daughter, and for your kids. So the gentleman I'm going to be talking to today is my boy. It's one of my best friends or whatever. It's my dude. I have full disclosure. I have three biological brothers in my life, and I consider this guy more or less kind of to be another one. So Maurice, I guess this is going to be a good conversation. It's something I think as Black men we need to have when we talk about mental health, because I know I have struggled with it, full disclosure, and I know a lot of us brothers out here we struggle with it as well. So let's get started.
My name is Maurice Benoduro. I'm pretty much, my line of profession, I deal with performing various integrations, helping clients to integrate with some of various cloud services. When we think of that, we're talking about Google Cloud Platform, Amazon Web Services. And really, the whole gist of it is just to kind of help them create a meaningful customer service experience from the data that's being stored in the cloud, and thus producing analytics off of it, and also creating new products and services. So that is the line of work that I do. I used to be married for 10 years or close to 10 years, and I have a little guy.
Junior.
Have a little guy that's growing super fast, so it keeps me on my toes for the most part. And I have a few hobbies off outside of work, if not working for the most part. It is, in the gym, getting outside, just kind of trying to spend time with friends and family for them. Yeah, whenever I can.
Got you. Just so you guys know, November is mental health month. Is a mental health month. I honestly did not know that until I started doing a little more research on it. And the guy we're going to be interviewing today, both of us ladies are well over 6 feet. Both of us are in insanely good shape. We're both well respected by our peers. We both hit the quote unquote income requirements that Kevin Samuels talks about as far as being a high value man, whatever that means. But mental health is something that I know we still struggle with. And I want to talk about that subject. So I guess my first question for you, Mo, is going to be this. Why do you think mental health is not talked about among men? Why is that, you think?
To be honest with you, I think whenever we get into the topic of talking about mental health and men, it's looked upon as like a weakness. I know for me, I come from a background where I've always had to kind of, lead by example and kind of always be there for, my siblings and everything. So I've always had to be like that rock, that strong person. And to show a sign of weakness, it was it was just something I didn't know I can do, or I didn't know it was something that I can actually express how I feel if I was in a vulnerable state. So I think 9 times out of 10, when we think of men, we think of strength, and that we're supposed to be able to carry on more burden than our counterparts, more specifically females. And I just kind of, as I've gotten older, I feel like that is not the case. It's definitely not true. So it's definitely more of a stereotype in terms of men are built to carry and handle more. So if we show any signs of, depression or any weakness, it's looked upon as, weakness.
So on the outside looking in, then it sounds like you would be the quintessential guy who would not have any reason to quote unquote have mental health, because it seems like from the outside looking in, everything, you're in shape, you take care of your body. You don't have any issues as far as as far as finding women, and you make a pretty decent living, I'm assuming, doing what you do. On the exterior, you're the type of brother who basically would not have any issues as far as mental health, or so that's what we're taught to believe anyway.
Yep, absolutely. I think
Yep.
a lot of people that I interact with on a regular basis, just from networking, they'll be surprised if they were to hear my true story as to what I've overcome, what I've went through. It personally firsthand, but looks can be deceiving. I try to hold everything together because I know at the end of the day I have to be strong for myself, and no one is going to wake me up. No one is going to say, hey, uh, you know, listen to something motivational, get out there, work hard. No one is going to babysit me throughout the process. So, like I said, it's definitely looks can be deceiving when it comes down to this stuff.
Definitely, definitely. You mentioned a lot of good points, Mo. You said as men, we're taught we cannot show hurt. I know I've been an athlete literally my entire life. I got offers to box. I got offers to kickbox professionally. I've done mixed martial arts for over 15 years or whatever. So I'm used to the whole thing. Shut up, stop crying, sprinkle some dirt on it, stop being a you know what, get back in the ring or get back in the game, get back on the field. And what do you think are the effects of that as men? What do you think that kind of does to us, I guess, as we get older and we start coming to stuff that we can't preferably sprinkle dirt on it and move on?
Say that one more time with the
What do you think are the effects of that as telling us as boys, okay, you need to stop being a little, you know what, get back on the field. Real men don't cry. What are some of the effects of that, I would say, you think, as we get older?
honestly, I mean, I think as with my son, I have to use him as an example. I have him in soccer. This is fifth season in soccer, and one of the things when you're getting into a sport is there's going to be some contact. His mama went in. As soon as he has contact, she's willing to, with open arms, come to me and give me a hug. And I'm teaching them on the other end that this is a part of the sport. This is the price that you pay whenever you're entering into some type of arena. And I think there needs to be a healthy balance. So to answer your question, when it comes down to shut up and deal with it, we don't want to be too harsh. There are times where life can be overwhelming for a man. In terms of going through a divorce, going through a breakup, losing a job, some of the three major life-changing events. These can be devastating for a guy, and to be able to lean on to another mentor, another friend to kind of help put things into perspective, I feel like is going to be necessary. So we can't really just say, hey, shake it off, get back in there, stop acting like a what. We just have to look at the fact that whenever there are major life-changing events, we have to open up and we have to reach out for that help that we need. We just can't sit here like it's a sport and say hey, get back out there. Those are two totally different things. What you're getting into whenever you enter into a certain sport. You don't know what you're getting whenever you go through life. You don't know what you're getting into whenever you get up, whenever you sign up for a job. Your whole expectation is to be with the company for X number of years and hopefully build a nice retirement nest egg, so that way you can enjoy your life later on. So it's all about balance. We have to pick and choose what those things are, so that way we can actually get the help that we need.
Got you. How do you that balance? Because I agree. Let's say on a scale of one, you are, your little starts with a B, the rest of the word, and then on the 10, you're like just too tough. You're just quote unquote. You're like the Incredible Hulk. You're so strong, you're gonna literally destroy yourself. You can be
Right.
1 to 10. How do you find that balance? Like, is it through good friends? Is it through a network? Maybe a church? Maybe a mom? Whatever. How do you find that balance to the point where okay, you're not too soft because you don't want to be too soft. There's too many of them kind of guys running around. But you don't want to be, like I said, the Incredible Hulk, where literally you just and just destroy everything around you. And I've been around those kind of guys as well.
I think that's a phenomenal question, Chris, man. Like I think it all goes back to being vulnerable enough with yourself. This whole journey of self-care, self-love. Being real with yourself and saying, what, you can't always expect to perform at a level 100. You can't do that. You may be the best in your industry. We're good at what we do. And it's expected for us to continue to perform on a regular basis 365 days out of the year. but we have to realize that we're not machines, that we do succumb to our own, being tired, being depressed from time to time, just not mentally being there. So that way we can, pour into our significant others or our friends or whoever. So we have to be real with ourselves and say, you know what, I'm not feeling it, and then once you're real with yourself, once you admit it, reaching out to, your closest contacts. I always say this, when it comes down to females should have other good female friends that they confide in, and guys should have other guy friends that they confide in. It shouldn't be vice versa. Even if you're going into the whole counseling space, I still feel like a guy should find a good, strong guy or male mentor for therapy, and vice versa for a female, because there's just things that us as men will not understand, coming from a female, and vice versa. So again, just admitting to, hey, this is what it is, and then going out there and just getting the help, really.
Got you. It's a two-way street, Mo, as well, bro. Ask me the questions as well as they pop in your brain, man, because this is a two-way conversation. You made a very powerful point about that, bro, and I agree with that. I'm very upfront about anybody who wants to talk to me, whatever. I am very upfront about the fact that I have definitely went through therapists. Growing up, I thought that therapy was for I'm going to be honest with you, for that same word that I cannot say, whatever. I thought it was basically for a bunch of wimps, to be honest with you. But I got to a point in my life where there was a situation that happened when I was much younger, and I could not get past that without figuring out, okay, why do I keep going back to my same destructive behavior, or without actually, why is it like that? So I went to one therapist. It was terrible. The guy, let's just say it was horrible. I'll just leave it at that. And then I was like, okay, therapy obviously doesn't work. But an individual who loved me said, no, you need to try this again. And they found somebody who basically, for lack of a better word, I could kind of match up with a lot better. And I learned about myself in a way that I had never, I learned something about myself that I never honestly knew. And it got to the point where it prepared me for my wife. So you made a lot of really good points about that, Mo.
So when it comes down to just like, say for instance, you are recently or newly married, how do you typically go about handling just the pressure of work, because you're in a profession where the pressure is there, and there are politics that you have to deal with, that not a lot of younger people may understand, because going to work is just one thing, but when you enter into that arena, there's politics that are behind the scenes that happen often. So how do you deal with that, and not let it cross over with your relationship?
Well, first off, I dated a lot before I got married. A lot. So as a result, I recognized a good woman when I met one, because I met a lot of women that I'll just say were not very good. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So fellas, when you get a good woman, hold on to her. That's one thing. So I realized God bless me, I got a good woman. I honestly got lucky. I'll be real with you. So I was prepared mentally and financially and physically and emotionally for her, but consider the people who I dated and who I met. When I met my wife, I was like, wow, it surprised me, because she's a good woman. That's one thing. So I appreciate what I have. Also, too, I kind of keep it all in perspective. At the end of the day, I'll be honest, I am a Black man in corporate America, and I'm in a management position. So I think about the situations that like my grandparents went through or my father went through, when they kind of explained their situation, what they dealt with in corporate America, whether it was working for Chrysler, whether it was in the U.S. military, whether it was in the school systems and stuff like that. And I realized that no matter what I quote unquote go through, and I've went through some stuff that is nothing compared to what my parents and my ancestors went through, if you will.
Right.
That's how I keep it in perspective. Then another thing too, this is a really good book by this gentleman named Dr. Randall Pickett Smith or whatever, called Black Faces in High Places and Black Faces in White Places. And I would advise anybody, whether you are black, white, whatever, to read that book, because it teaches you how, if you are the only, how to basically dominate in a space where you are the only. So if you're the only white guy in a company, it teaches you basically, okay, this is how I need to think so I can get to the top. If you're a Black guy in a company, it says, okay, this is how I need to think to get to the top. And that book kind of systematically walks you through how to basically dominate. And one of the overarching themes in that book is that if you are in corporate America, you need to be the best, period.
Right.
That's what you need to focus on. There's a certain level of skill that comes from working quote unquote 9 to 5, but there's another skill that comes from working 8 to 6. Basically master your craft. So that's kind of how I do it, Maurice. I realize A, I got a good woman. B, I come to every meeting over prepared. I try to outwork everybody. And I try to work very smart. So the things that I can control that. The other stuff, the racism, the sexism, the because you do deal with, if you're a guy, I've dealt with some crap from some women as well. That kind of stuff,
Right.
you can't. That's out of my control. I can't really, whatever. They're idiot. They're gonna be an idiot. But basically, I guess more the way that I kind of handle it is the stuff that I can control. I control that. The stuff that I can't control, it's out of my hands. That's kind of how I do it.
So I mean, so whenever it comes down to like say for instance, if you had to give like some practical, like kind of like gems that a guy could utilize, say for instance, hey, I'm just getting off of work. I've had a rough day. I've had like 5 meetings, wasn't able to get any work done. And now I got to come home to my wife. I'm not really feeling it. I'm not mentally in that space. And on top of that, you may or may not have a kid. So what do you do to kind of say, hey, let me still be cool enough to be that man that my wife needs me to be that father, but yet, still get that detox, you know what I mean, from my day, you know what I mean?
So I think the way I'll answer that, Mo, is this. First, let's start at the beginning. First off, make sure you marry the right woman, because you should not work a 15-hour shift basically fighting with your boss, fighting with the police, fighting with HR, fighting with a client halfway across the world in India. You shouldn't work a 15-hour shift or whatever, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You shouldn't have to fight at work and then come home and fight your spouse. Like, that should be a place of peace. So I guess start at the very beginning. I'd rather be a single bachelor doing my thing and enjoying life or whatever, and come home by myself, or come home and date women, come home with different women or whatever, instead of basically marrying the wrong woman, working an extremely stressful career, and then come home to another toxic situation. So that's why I say the first thing is marry the right person. But because your spouse should be your place of peace. That's when you get home, she should open herself up to you, and it should be nothing but love. That's how I look at it. Having said that, on top of that too,
I agree with you on that.
I also believe that the family that plays together stays together. So you guys need to have some hobbies that you do. So basically, I don't know if it's like Tuesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, whatever. There should be at least 2 or 3 nights where y'all just basically just kind of chill. And you say, okay, tonight we're going salsa dancing. Tonight we're going bowling. Tonight we're going kickboxing. I'm a physical dude. Tonight we're going to basically go rock climbing. You guys should have hobbies that you do, because we both work in corporate America. We both own businesses. You know what it's like.
I'm gonna stop you really quick, because I think that's a really good recommendation, and I always get this all the time. It just came to mind, but whenever you move into a city, or heck, you've already been in the city for quite some time now. People get so complacent and stuck in routines that they feel like the next biggest thing has to come from the night scene, or going out to a nice dinner, or hanging out with some friends. And to be quite honest with you, it doesn't have to be that way. One of the things that I always get is, how can I get involved in more activities, such as going out dancing, things like that, or kind of spicing things up in a relationship. I recommend various apps. There are Meetup. I know people may know about it, some people may not know about it. Other things is just hey, we live in a world where we have our phones, our computers, things to easy access to the internet. Just quickly do a Google search within your city of various activities, interests that you are interested in. You'll be surprised.
You'll be
how much stuff is out there. You'll be surprised. And here's the thing, every guy's out here trying to blow money and put it on a girl and trying to impress and this, that, and the other. And those things are great. Those things are needed. You know what I mean? Those things show that you do care. As a man, it shows, that's our way of showing that we do care outside of our time. But on another level, if you want to kind of spice things up a little bit between your relationship and keep it fresh and interesting with new and exciting things, or things that are not routine based, just do a quick search within your city, and I'm quite sure you'll be able to find things that will not only stimulate your mind, but also stimulate the relationship and kind of add that excitement. So I'm glad you brought that up. I just wanted to stop you and just kind of throw that gem, because we are talking about men's mental health. And I think that's something that to kind of, if you were taking down notes, to kind of take away, you know what I mean, in terms of, leveraging that. So.
I agree. I agree. Something else, Mo, you said as well about mental health. Maybe because I was just an athlete my entire life, but I noticed, like, for instance, say I had to study 19 hours for an exam, and in college I did study like that. Mechanical engineering is a beast, and I know Mo, you studied the same way when you were in college as well. So one thing that always helped me was that if I was just mentally, I'm talking about just drained, I would just physically work out, hit the heavy bag, kickbox, go dancing. I would do something that was physical. So basically, when I was really tired physically, I mean mentally, I would do something very strenuous physically, and then mentally, I'll be. It was like I would recharge a battery. In the same way, if I was really tired physically, if I did something mentally, like study algebra, study calculus, study linear algebra, start another business, something like that, it allowed me to physically basically recover. So when you say mental health, Mo, I honestly would say something else. I'm gonna advise anybody that's listening as well. Start working out. The healthier health is
Oh
wealth. The
yeah,
healthier you are,
can't forget that.
crazy how much that helps your mental health.
Can't forget that. That's absolutely should be number one, honestly. And it's not even a matter of trying to get a physique or the body or this, that, and the other. It's literally has honestly been a game changer. Because let's say, for instance, you pay $24 or so for a membership. I mean, this is easy access therapy for you on a continual basis, on a daily basis. It's pouring into yourself. The byproduct of it is you look good. You know what I mean? If you're a female, you get the shape that you want. If you're a guy, you get the
Hourglass figure,
aesthetic that you want.
curves.
You look good. So I mean, it's a win-win situation. Why not go and do something that's going to cater to your mind as well as your body, and also provide longevity for the years to come, whether you decide to have a family or whatever. For the years to come, this thing, working out is like my all-around go-to, recommendation. And I'm not just saying it, but I actually do this on a regular basis. It's the only way that I can recharge, get ready for the next day to deal with the amount of work that I have on a regular basis, as well as when it comes down to relationship wise, being able to cater towards that and pour in a healthy manner. So
Yep. Yeah, to anybody listening, to anybody listening, it is the best feeling in the world when you take your shirt off and your six pack is popping, your pecs are popping, all the girls are looking at you. The woman who you with, she grabs your arm a little tighter because she knows all the girls are looking at you. That's a good friggin' feeling. I mean, that's a very good feeling. I have a lot
a
of
really good
content or whatever
feeling.
on my channel about how health is wealth and the importance of being in shape. And I would advise any man that's listening, basically take care of your body, people. There are so many benefits that come with that. I will say this, however, this is coming from a guy who literally kickboxing. I mean, I've sparred guys that are legitimately in the UFC right now. They fought for world championships. You get to a point in your life, however, I will say this though: it does not matter how many weights you lift, how many miles you run, how many mountains you climb. There are some things that literally physically you just can't get rid of, and
Right.
where I think the mental health component comes in, because I did it all. And to anyone that is listening, I do think there is a component sometimes where you have to actually go to get some professional help, possibly depending on what it is. Mo, I know with your journey, describe your fitness journey as far as like some of the places it's gotten you out of and some of the places it's gotten you to. Because I know with me, physical working out has taken me out of some extremely dark, depressive states or whatever. And I'm kind of curious, has that been your journey sometimes as well as working out, or not really?
Honestly, that's what I've documented, from journaling to social media. Honestly, I was in a depressed state once I had my divorce, and I was going through. I'm talking about, a guy that graduated, with a 3.8 out of school. Had everything looking up for him, had a great life, married wise. To go through or to be blindsided by something like that was kind of devastating. And so, for me, I've always kind of been that social loner type of person, meaning that, when it comes to the social scene, I can definitely, get the room, going or whatnot. But when it comes down to would I rather spend time, thinking about ideas, thoughts, my next move, I'm very much so comfortable with doing that. And so I went into a depressive state, also being a loner. And I was like, the only way to kind of help cope with the thoughts were to, was not pleased with that decision. It was a weak moment in my life. And to make a long story short, I took one glance in the mirror, And I was like, this is, I was looking at my skin, my health wasn't what I've never been an overweight person. And I looked and I was devastated. And I'm not going to even lie to you. It was a wake up call that I needed. And so right then and there, I was like, you know what? I'm not even concerned with, whether I have big biceps or, a big chest or anything like that. I was just more so concerned with the fact that I had a kid that has a father that, things may not be going well for his father at that moment in time, but he's going to need me through his walk of life. And the most important thing is I don't want him to get to that point where, he sees what I'm doing and thinks that that is the way out of any stressful situation. So I made it, promise to myself that, hey, stop that, get on the right track by just simply walking 30 minutes a day. I was putting on a podcast. I'm a big podcast person. I highly recommend that if you're looking to quickly find mentors. If you don't have the funds or the money, listen to a podcast, find some good resources. We can always talk about that offline. I'm quite sure if you're interested, Chris, you have his information. I can pass that along to him. But nonetheless, I decided to start with 30 minutes a day walking. That was commitment. It wasn't about trying to get 10,000 steps. It wasn't about trying to lose weight. It was just simply, I was trying to build a habit because mentally I had already destroyed that connection that I was so used to doing in terms of working out or just at least trying to do something and stay active. Once I started doing that, I mean, it went from, and I'm just fast forwarding my story, it went from doing the 30 minutes to spending, close to 1 hour, but actually dabbling a little bit into weight training and trying to eat right. And from there, without getting too complex into that story, that was my journey. That was the catalyst that got me moving in the right direction was my little guy, and realizing that if I'm going to be an example for him, I have to start with myself. I have to be an example, at least for myself, so that way I can be an example for him. So that's where it all started at.
Got you. Your little son, your motivation that he gave you, like what advice, I guess, would you give men who are kind of in that same depressive state and everything? I know how I got myself out of it. What advice would you give people, Mo, about say a guy says, oh, I'm a loser, my life's not going well, woe is me. Like what advice would you tell them to kind of get out of that? Because I ain't gonna lie, as men, ladies, we feel that way a lot a lot more than we
absolutely. What I would say, honestly, speaking with you offline has been a huge help. Our other close boy, Marcus, over on the West Coast, has been a huge help, just because it feels like you're not alone. And one of the things that I like about my close guy friends is that you guys tell me exactly how it is. You don't sugarcoat it. You don't tell me. You don't give me information based on participation. You know what I mean? You tell me based on where pretty much what I'm capable of doing, where I'm capable of being at. And that's what I appreciate whenever I'm trying to figure out where I need to go at in life. So the first thing is just honing into your close circle of friends. And if you don't have it, guys, you're young, find it. Put yourself out there, build it. There's no excuse as to not to have 1 to 3 close guy friends that you can confide in throughout your walk of life. And I'm gonna be real with you. If you're in college, that's going to be the most critical time for you to find your close, 1 to 3, because after that, 9 times out of 10, it gets very hard to kind of trust people beyond college. So if you're in college, I highly recommend you take advantage of it. Don't, enjoy the experience, but get out there and really try to figure out who's going to be your close circle as you move forward. Because when you make it in life, it becomes hard to figure out who's really on your side. And when you're down on your luck, no one's going to be on your side. So you're still going to need that close circle of friends that knew you when you didn't have anything, but you were, working your way on, towards something better. So that's the first thing. Second thing is podcasts, motivational stuff, YouTube. get a mentor. A mentor doesn't have to be, a person. It can be the books you read, the podcast, the information you allow into your body. Into your mind, excuse me to say.
And your
Get
body.
that information on a consistent basis. This is like eating food, because your mind needs this to battle with whatever future things may come. It's not necessarily what happens right then and there. It's more so of preparing your mind, equipping your mind with the knowledge, the know-how, so that way when a battle or something presents itself, you'll have the information you need to, to kind of handle that appropriately. And then the last thing is just simply exercise. You're not trying to be a bodybuilder. If you are, great, that's all good or whatever. But the whole thing is we as human beings were designed to move. We feel good when we're moving around. We weren't designed to sit down in an office 24/7, 7 days a week,
watch Netflix
5 days out of the year.
Yeah.
That is not how things were designed. Even if you enjoy what you do and it requires you sitting down, again, our bodies were designed to move. As a kid, we moved so much. I'm looking at my guy. This guy zips across the room plenty of times. I know you see your son. I know you see your son, and he zips across the room all over the place and everything like that. So we as human beings were not designed to sit around. And if you're a man, you definitely shouldn't be sitting around a lot, to be honest with you. We as men, we need to find focus on our purpose with our career. But and honestly, I think I go back to the 5 F's, faith, family, finances, fitness, and I feel like I'm missing one. But just kind of having that balance, that big circle. If you could see it, if you can picture a big circle, and each circle has like is cut up into like a pie or whatever. We want to make sure that every one of those pies are pretty much filled up with some type of goal associated with it. So if it's your faith, making sure that, hey, showing up to church or whatever, or meditating. It doesn't have to be about showing up to church. Meditating, journaling, finances, make sure your money is in order, make sure you got your bag and underway, making sure that you are working hard towards something, and etc. Family, friends, making sure you're putting in the time and effort into a relationship. But keep in mind, if someone's not putting in that time and effort, don't keep pouring into something that's not there. It has to be both ways. It has to be both ways. So those are the 3 things offhand that I would leave as something that, us as men can act on. And again, that's, again, our fitness, when it comes down to that, just finding a mentor and confiding in, close friends, close male, positive male influences.
Let me ask you this, Mo. And once again, this is a two-way street, so keep asking me the questions as well. You have mentioned a couple of times about men need to find men to talk to about certain things. Now, I have a lot of female listeners or whatever. They're listening right now. I'm actually getting a lot of messages on my phone at the moment. Why do you say men should talk to men? I think I know why, but why do you think men, we need to be talking to men about certain things? Well, why is that? Not talking to some of our platonic lady friends?
Well, I think I'm gonna be real with you. I think if I was talking to a female about my problems, females are great at nurturing. You know what I mean? When it comes down to making you feel, like say for instance, you're going through something, and it's a really bad, life-changing situation. They're good at making you feel emotion. Typically, guys, we don't really have too much emotion. If you do, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not really emotional, but when it comes down to, if I was to share how I feel to a woman, I feel like I wouldn't necessarily get the true help that I need. It would be more so of just consoling for that time being. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, if you have a spouse or wife that you're married to, sitting down and talking to them. She's her role is probably going to be more so catering towards the emotional side, and that does feel good. I'm not gonna lie, that does feel extremely good. But when that's all said and done, and you're done, crying and just having that pity party, you need to pick up the pieces and get to work.
Yep.
And so this is where your boys come in. This is where other men come in, people that have been here before and have gone through this stuff, so that way they can understand, hey, I've been there before. I understand how you feel. I understand how your pride is in the, may get in the way, and you feel like you're the only guy that's going through this, and you shouldn't open up your mouth and say anything. You shouldn't ask for help. This is what a good male role model is going to do. And then on top of that, they're going to tell it like it is, because you don't have a chemistry in terms of a sexual chemistry. This is two guys, coming together, so again, a woman's, role, they're strong at nurturing, and that's great initially. But when it's time to move forward, because this is a process, you want to get those guys behind your back that's putting the fire, under your behind, to get you in the right direction. So that's pretty much my reasoning behind it. There's others too, but that's the main one that I go off of.
Got you.
What about yourself?
I would say, first and foremost, if you are a man and you open up yourself to a woman emotionally, that's kind of like a woman running around your house naked to some extent. Like, there's a certain typically speaking, I find with men and women, if you try to have a quote unquote platonic relationship with a female, it's very challenging for it to remain non-sexual if there is any kind of chemistry there. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I just find that, generally speaking, either the man or the woman wants to kind of be more than just friends. So that's the first thing. I think, honestly, if you start opening yourself up to too many women, eventually you're gonna probably start having sex with a few of them. That's one thing I'll say.
Yeah, that's I absolutely agree with you on that.
Particularly, like I said, and just women like seeing when they honestly like seeing when men are emotional. They don't want to see it all the time, because then they think you're a beta or you're a simp or whatever. But generally speaking, a woman loves it when a women like seeing a guy cry on their shoulder. Yep. Especially if you never do that. If you like cry once every 5 years, and your girl or wife sees you doing that turns them on. So I think there's a sexual component to it or whatever, about why I think quote unquote talking to a lot of females as far as what you're going through is kind of an issue. And then secondly, Mo, you hit the nail on the head, bro. At the end of the day, a woman nurtures you. Her job is to make you feel good. A guy, our job is to make you basically do what you need to do to go to the next level. Right. One thing I love about you and Marcus or whatever is that you guys will talk shit to me to my face and maybe say nice things about me behind my back to everybody else. And I need that. You need to have your boys or your friends that basically say, dude, you are bugging. What are you doing right now, man? This is not the dude. This is not the guy I knew in college. This ain't the dude that I knew basically who was all confident. What happened to you? You need to be a man and you need to step up to the plate. That's how my boys and my brothers and my friends talk to me. And there's a certain level of respect among men that we realize, because we all have a low level of violence among us. So we realize, yo, this dude is right. He's telling it exactly like it is, and he's not sugarcoating. And I need to hear this. And I'm not saying that women can't do that, but when it's coming from a man, it hits us a little harder or whatever. So I guess that's how I would answer it. I do think, for the record, men, we do need to have female friends, and we do need to have females that we can talk to or whatever. Even if you pick up a phone and call somebody, like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, because it is kind of good to hear from a woman's perspective. But I think in general, it's a very good idea, fellas, to have a good group of dudes basically that you can go to. So that's how I would answer that question, Mo.
Right. I still don't know about the whole having a female friend thing. I don't know. I'm just
nah. It's a female friend that you can call. That thing is far, thousands of miles apart. Yeah, hundreds of miles apart. Yeah, that's how I say it. That's how I say it.
But no, I agree with you, man. So yeah, like I said, I mean, these are, mental health, guys, in a nutshell, is not a weakness. It's actually one of those things where we need to voice this, throughout all 12 of the months. And, this needs to be something where, it's not just the month of November, where we barely know anything about it, but this needs to be, around the holidays. This needs to be, the 1st of January. This needs to be throughout the entire year, where we are kind of making an effort to kind of put this on the forefront and let guys know that, hey, we stand we stand as one for one another. Not every guy's going to be on board with that, and that's cool. But those who are willing to continue to improve themselves, this is not a beta thing to do. You know what I mean? Because as Chris alluded to, we're both over here doing our things. We're both over here, making a really good income. We're both over here taking care of our family. Just because I've had a major setback with divorce doesn't necessarily mean that things from a co-parenting perspective is not going in the right direction, because we both care significantly for our child. But at the same time, as you can see, we're sitting over here putting out this information, this content, because we felt like this was a need that needed to be discussed, so that way we can help others outside of our normal hectic schedule. As soon as I get off of this, I got to get back to work to do something else. So this is how passionate we are with delivering this information, because we really want men to get comfortable with, whether you're sitting in the lounge and you're with a group of guys and you guys are sharing a drink, whatever you're doing, listening to music, outside of talking about this girl and that girl, or whoever you like, have that conversation about, yo, man, I want to hear more of, so how's your mental health holding up? You know what I mean? Like, I want to go to a bar and be like, yo, since the last time I saw you, how are you holding up mentally?
Yep.
That's what I'm hoping, in terms of change and just kind of men standing as one for, this cause.
So. Let me ask you this, Mo. We got a couple cool questions. I'm gonna start getting. Oh, by the way, everybody, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm. I love giving you guys free content. Okay, but let me ask you this. Right now, with the professional athletes or whatever, I'm not gonna say their names. They play for certain teams in the NBA. They've done the whole, oh, my back hurts. Oh, I have mental health issues, and as a result, they got an $100-some-odd million contract and they're not playing ball. You got those types. That I'm not gonna say the brother ain't dealing with mental health, but every time I see him, he's on Instagram with a different IG girl, but he never is on the floor playing ball. So it's kind of weird.
All right, hold on, wait, time out. Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about?
Come on, bro. Ben Simmons, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
$120 million contract. He can't play basketball or whatever because he has mental health issues. This guy, he's driving a new foreign car with a bad chick in his driver's in the passenger seat, but he has mental health issues, so he doesn't have to play ball. But he's still collecting the bag, still collecting his check. And then you have other people who I do think are legit dealing with mental health issues. Simone Biles comes to mind or whatever, where they say medically, if she had basically jumped on the balance beam and done the gymnastics routine, she might have crippled herself. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me right now that it's kind of cool to say that you're getting therapy. Is that a good or a bad thing to say that? Because there are people who are legit struggling with mental health, and there are people I think who, I'm gonna be honest, I think they're fronting. So what's your take on that, I guess?
Are you saying that Ben Simmons is out here saying, yo, I'm getting the help that I need or something like that?
I think Ben Simmons is a fraud. I think he just don't want to learn how to shoot a jump shot, so he don't want to play ball.
Oh yeah, okay. Now I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I legit think that she might have crippled herself. Basically, her coaches refused to let her go out there. They're like, you might hurt yourself.
Okay, that's what I mean. Yeah. This whole there are a group where you look at TikTok and they talk about I got crippling depression and some crap.
You should talking about
I got crippling depression, because my mom didn't cook. Like that BS, man. Like, come on, man. I think if people can joke about it, we can also gather this information. I mean, hey, it can. Even if people are joking about it, at least this information is getting out there. Yeah. But I would like for it to get out there in a more of a serious manner, where it's almost like saying hello to somebody. Literally, how I envision it is you should be able to go to a bar, same situation, same scenario, and your way of greeting one another is, hey, Tang, man, it's been a while, or whatever. How's your mental health holding up? How's everything going in that space, And you're able to have a conversation, just like you're talking about sports and everything. So I don't know what Ben Simmons is trying to do. I think the dude just got a lot of money, got a lot of time on his hands.
He
He's
definitely
just
not working on his jump shot. I know that.
he may not be working on his jump shot, but you know,
He's
he's
scoring a lot of
improved.
buckets.
Maybe he's improved. There you go.
I don't understand how you can
boy
sign a
gets the
nine-figure contract, bruh, and not want to get better at your career. I was not built that way. I mean, I don't understand how you can make all that money and never work on your craft. How are you an NBA player? You don't want to shoot a three-pointer. I don't get it, man. But
some people don't care about at a certain moment in time. I mean, when you got people like right now, who would we say the greats are right now? And I have to say right now would be LeBron James. You know what I mean? Like, whether we disagree with it or not, right now the greats would be LeBron James, and this dude is like, he has a checklist. With his routine, his accomplishments.
$1 a year.
I mean, so imagine me and you playing in the same league, and during the same year with this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
LeBron,
would you be motivated?
Right, yes, I would be. I mean, I'm motivated. If I get up 3:30 every morning in my mechanical engineering career, so heck yeah, I wish God gave me that kind of talent to play in the league. But my thing, like LeBron, he's a good example. The dude never knew his father. I don't think he never knew his father. Grew up in a single parent household. Grew up in the projects or whatever. Saw friends and teammates get shot and killed. Basically, is worth $1 billion now. The dude spends over $3 million a year on his body. I'm sure LeBron deals with mental. He has to deal with. You cannot be that good at your craft. All the haters he has and not have mental issues. But he's putting it together. So I see guys like that where they come from, and then I see other cats. And I'm just like, okay, I don't want to belittle the whole mental health thing because mental health is real. I did therapy for years or whatever, so it's real. But like, sometimes I'm wondering, okay, are cats just fronting with this whole mental health thing, or is this like a legit issue that we need to talk? Because it does seem like it's kind of cool to say you're in therapy now. I guess I don't know.
I got crippling depression. I'm telling you, I've heard that plenty of times.
A lady just sent me a message. I want to ask you this, okay? Because I think this kind of hits a little home what we're talking about: marriage, monogamy, and one woman for life. Do you men don't believe that this is obsolete, or do you believe that this is still real? I'm gonna say my personal.
Oh, that's a good question.
I think it's definitely real. I got married later in life because I wanted to basically make sure I was doing the right.
Guys,
person. But
Chris did it right.
Marriage, monogamy, and one woman for life. Do you believe that concept is obsolete, or do you think it's still real? This is a good question.
I'm gonna be real with you. So Chris did it right, whereas he, quote unquote, experienced life just from getting a chance to know a female and understand whether she was going to be on the same page. But at the same time, Chris was focusing on his career too at the same time. So Chris did it right, in my opinion. For me, on the other hand, I was still focusing on my career. I think for me, I always got the perception of, I was just this guy that, wanted to, talk to this girl and that girl and kind of play this girl and that girl. But deep down inside, it was more so of having the career, having the home, having, this, that, and the other in place, the car or whatever, and also having a, supporting spouse who allowed me to lead that relationship to whatever level. So looking at it now, I'm kind of like, man, this is crazy out here just because of the fact that so many females have been hurt, so they don't really know what to believe. Some of them are just perfectly fine with just settling down with, some type of pet or something like that. I mean, I'm over here in Atlanta and, we have freaking pet spas that cost hundreds of dollars, just to kind of like drop off your pet, you know what I mean? As if like they're, as if like this is literally, a child of some sort. And don't get me wrong, I'm all pro pets. I've had pets in my past, but it was more so of that comfort, or kind of like in terms of a dog, kind of like something that I could play with, you know what I mean? And without going into details, I think it is becoming obsolete, just because, some of the stuff that I've heard, I just don't want to, I don't feel like I want to put up with it. Some of the things that, females are talking about, I don't really want to put up with it. There are some out there that are, that know what they want. But unfortunately, some guys are just waking up and they're just kind of like, yo, Yeah, let me just focus on my purpose, because if somebody out there is going to know when they see a good man, like, hey, he's a good person. I'm a hop on board. You know what I mean? And this is not about a guy saying, hey, I'm a good man, I'm a good man, I'm a good man. Guys, you don't have to say any of that stuff. Just literally live it. Just literally live it, because like I said, I don't know who's out here working around this time right now. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, if you got to go and serve or bartend or whatever the case may be, that's a different story. That's typically at night. But for me, having a corporate job, I don't know who else is out here working at this time of night. You know what I mean? When you could be sitting over here watching Netflix or Hulu or something like that, or sports.
Right.
So I think it is becoming obsolete, just because guys are waking up, and that's a whole nother story. Some guys are waking up and they're choosing to wake up and be toxic with this information. And there are other guys that are waking up that are like, yo, you know what? I am going to start to take care of my mental health, my that whole self-care, that self-love. And I'm going to, quote unquote, wait for the right person to come along that matches that vibe. Because if she's not giving out the same energy, what's the matter with, hey, if I say, hey, how was your day? Well, all of a sudden I gotta do a magic trick. You know what I mean? Just to get a response back. I mean, I've seen girls talk about, don't ask me how my day is because my day is going great. And I'm like,
just ask the next girl how her day is.
I'm like, okay, like we as human beings, that's what we do,
if a girl says
we ask how her day was, how's things going. So, if somebody asks me how my day is going, I'm not gonna. I'm sorry, I have to get on this. If your boss came to you, for some of these females, if your boss came to you and asked you how your day is going, would you respond the same exact way, saying, don't ask me how my day is going, it's going great?
Yes, if you want to get fired, yeah.
Right? So when a man comes to you and asks the same thing, shouldn't you show that much more respect, that much more concern and care, because this person is showing interest? Hey, how's your day? It may go great, it may not go great, but that's where it starts.
This the thing, no Mo. That same woman that answered that ignorant way or whatever, she gonna feel real lonely when Friday, Saturday night roll around. She sees you with another girl somewhere else. That didn't raised properly. Now she said, "Hey, my day is going well. My name is such and such. What's yours?"
Right.
This bullshit thing, man. I don't. I look at it stuff like, you live in Atlanta, I was in Miami. I mean, you know how it goes, bro. When you factor in dudes that are gay, guys that have no game, men that are broke, men that have no reproductive organ, seriously, guys that are locked up, and dudes that are just absolute bums that have no money. It's like women for it's like 10 heterosexual women for every one heterosexual man. So when I was a bachelor, when women started doing them stupid little games, just replace her with somebody else. I mean, there are literally millions of women out here that are waiting for a good guy to walk in their life. So dudes, don't worry about that. And in the same respect, Mo, like you were saying, bro. All it is how was your day? If a girl has a problem answering that,
man, what you mean? How was my day?
She got problems. Keep them moving.
I'm only gonna say this one time. One time, it was fine. Like, all right, all right. I'm not following up with anything else.
Yeah, but you do say that you think that marriage is obsolete or monogamy is obsolete. Well, you did say you do think that it is, though.
I think marriage is it's becoming super rare, to the point of where it is becoming obsolete. And I'm gonna be real with you, because I mean, I still believe in marriage. I still believe in that finding that one and becoming one. Eventually I probably will get married. But at the same time, I'm not, based on what I've experienced, I'm not in a rush to.
No,
I just want it to be, I just want whatever relationship I'm in to happen where the chemistry is organic enough, where it's like, okay, I wake up and I realize I cannot be without that person. As I'm accomplishing things, I realize that she is an integral part of my life. You know what I mean? So as of right now, I feel that marriage, being in a monogamous relationship, marriage, I should say, is obsolete. Monogamous relationship, though, that shouldn't be obsolete. I think, especially if a woman is making it clear that, she is wanting to be with this guy, and she's come to him and said, hey, I would like to, take this further and be in a committed relationship, then yeah, that should be, happening on a regular basis. That shouldn't be obsolete, because that's ultimately the desire that we all have, to be with somebody. But if you're kind of throwing him, mixed signals, and he's kind of like, whatever, then yeah, that's you get what you put out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll say this. I don't think the concept is obsolete. I just think that there are a lot of women out here not worth marrying. In the same respect, I think there's a lot of dudes out here not worth marrying either. So
yeah.
I look at life simple. Like when I was a bachelor or whatever, I look at the men in my life who were never married, who didn't marry, who weren't married and stuff like that. These are the guys still going to the bar, still going to the club, still going wherever, picking up girls, still flying to other countries, doing their thing. And these dudes, when they got to about a certain age, like 65, 70, I saw the life that they lived. And I was just like, I don't want that. I don't want to have like 7 or 8 baby mamas. I got kids all over the world that hate me. They only call me when they want money. And I saw kind of that lifestyle. And conversely, I saw the dudes who did it the opposite way, where they met a woman, they got married, some of them got divorced and met another woman, some of them stayed married. And I saw the lifestyle those men had when they were like in their late 60s and 70s and stuff like that, where they had kids that actually liked them, women that respected them, men that respected them. And I would say this, marriage in our time, I think this is the hardest time in history to be married. When you got things from Instagram to Facebook, I'm not gonna say the adult sites, we all know what they are, whatever, the dating apps and everything. Literally, you have billions of women reaching out to you constantly at any given time. It's the same way with women. So I think this is the hardest time in history to be married. But the building block to me of any community, of any household, is a male and a female in the household that love each other, that are basically raising kids. That to me is the strongest way to create the next generation. Strong houses create strong communities create strong states create strong countries, strong country. That's how you build an empire. So to me, it's not outdated, but you got to be very selective about who you marry, because I agree with you, Mo. It's like there's a lot of fun out here, but it's not a lot of quality. That's kind of what I'll say. But it's not. I don't think it's outdated. That's just me though, personally.
That's a good point. But hey, I guess I'll continue to find out.
Yeah, take your time, Mo. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent. You bring a lot to the table, so take your time, fam. And I'm telling you, when you meet her, you're gonna know it's time to let everybody else go. So you're gonna know. You're gonna know. So, got another good question, bro. I want to ask. I'm dating a woman who I love, but she has mental issues from childhood trauma. She's getting therapy, but when we fight, she says horrible things that are very cruel. At what point should I say, okay, enough is enough, and I leave because her insults are beyond verbal? Wow.
Oh man. Jeez.
Wow.
This is dang. Honestly, that's a tough one, man, because of the fact that nothing should ever, when it comes down to verbal, love has to be there. I understand that, you may have a hurtful past, this and the other, but man, I think the person, if there's verbal involved, to be honest with you, I think that the other person has to be able to acknowledge that they are acting in a way that's not normal, and also be willing to not only admit but get the help that they need. And then the other person should be able to take a step back and allow them to get the help that they need and not intervene with it, because you'll see a lot of guys trying to interfere and say, okay, well, I also want to be a part of this, so I can help you be the woman that I need you to be, and this, that, and the other. And this is not about you. You know what I mean? This is, if you care about that person, allow them to get the help that they need, with the realization that the help that they may need may not be with you in the picture. You know what I mean? They may let you go, and you may not know what happens, whether they get the help that they need or not, but you have to be confident and comfortable enough to allow that to happen, because they're obviously going through something that is hindering them from growing, hindering them from loving you the way you need to be loved. So you have to allow, once they are willing to admit and get the help that they need, on a consistent basis and make an effort to change, let them do what they need to do. And if it comes back to where that help that they need doesn't involve you with them or you guys together, it's okay. You know what I mean? Wish each other well and keep it pushing. But keep in mind what the toxic energy you allow into your life. I hope to God that you have enough reserve to deal with it. And I'm gonna be quite real with you. No one has a lot of reserve to deal with any toxic energy in their life. So keep that in mind whenever you are dealing with someone that's putting you down or just really not trying to make what they're doing wrong right. So
yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Maurice said something very nice, and that was all sweet. But bro, I'm gonna be completely real with you, dude. Why are you wasting your time with a woman who's verbally, man? I don't. You love her, but she don't. I'll say it like this: you love her, but she's verbally. You love her, but she's talking down to you. You love her, but she's basically killing you by destroying you with her words. No offense, man. There are millions of other women outside of where you live. I personally always had an abundance mindset or whatever when it came to women. When it came to my career, when it came to dating, when it came to making money, I always had the mindset I can do more, I can get more, I can do better. I always had an abundance mindset. So why are you wasting your time, bro, with a woman who is verbally? I agree with Maurice. She needs to get help. Let her get her help. And while she's getting her help, you should be out here trying to basically find a woman who's not going to verbally. That's how I'll say that. I don't know. Life is too short to spend on an individual who does not respect you. And a person that loves you is not going to talk to you like that. I don't care how you look at it. Period.
And I guess I offered the advice from the standpoint of you're in the relationship. So this relationship, say for instance, let's say for instance, you just met a person and they're being verbally. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Cut them off, keep it pushing, right? You know what I mean? Like no harm, no foul. It's easy. But I guess I was looking at it from the standpoint, I looked at it from being married. And although everything wasn't toxic 24/7, everyone has, some toxic tendencies, both guys and girls, you know what I mean? No one's perfect. It takes two to tango. So when it comes down to, something like that, I think if I look at it this way, if I was coming to you and I had an alcoholic problem, and you've been with me, and not you physically, Chris, but, I'm speaking in general. If you've been with me and, this is the guy that you love, but all of a sudden, I fell down on my luck and now I'm an alcoholic and, I'm doing things that's not reasonable, not logical. And because you love me and you remember good times, you're literally sitting here trying to intervene and get me the help that I need. And I'm sitting here telling you, this is not about you. This is about me making that effort. And as long as I'm doing that, as long as I'm putting my foot forward to make an effort, then that should be enough to kind of say, okay, look, I do take it serious. I do acknowledge what you're saying, and I do need to get the help that I need. But if I come back and I realize that down that journey that I'm going to continue to hurt you or something like that, and I come back and I say, I don't want to be with you, then the other person has to be like, okay, you know what I mean? And at the same time, the other person can at any moment in time exit out of the relationship. That's why I say everyone's level or threshold to deal with BS, I call it, is different. You know what I mean? But if it's starting to get to your mental where you're starting to, where their toxic energy is starting to transform and make you think like, oh, I'm this, that, and the other. If they're trying to say you're dumb, calling you dumb every day, and then all of a sudden you're starting to believe that you're dumb, then yeah, get out of that relationship. But if they're saying stuff and that stuff is not affecting you at all, who you are truly, and that they're truly hurting. Again, what I'm saying is kind of playing devil's advocate, is giving that guy, that female, some type of hope, but at the same time realizing that if this didn't go well, you still have to continue to move forward. You still have to, pick up where you the pieces where you were at and move on with someone else or go somewhere else.
Got you. I agree with that, Mo. I agree with that. We're coming to a close with time. I want to be respectful, but I do have a couple other questions, Mo, I want to send your way. So this guy just sent me this message. As a divorced father, I have full custody of my son, and I've been divorced for 3 years. I'm interested in getting back in the dating game. What advice would you give me, Maurice, about dating and being a single father?
Oh,
Wow.
I would say the main thing for me has been focusing on my fitness. My fitness has kind of helped transform my mental state, which has allowed me to understand that no matter my current circumstance, this is not going to be a forever circumstance. It's definitely going to be a time where I'm back where I used to be, if not 10 times better. So focusing on your physical fitness is going to be the main thing for a guy or a female, to be honest with you. That's important, but then also once you're kind of in a routine where you're focusing on your physical fitness, again, knowledge is power. What are you putting into your mind? You know what I mean? Are you looking at the latest, Kardashian or, The Voice, or are you actually sitting down listening to an Audible book or like some type of podcast? Are you taking the time to, for every hour that you spend, watching TV, you should spend at least, 15 to 30 minutes with some type of motivational content being, uploaded, at least during the daytime, because how you start your day is super important.
Absolutely.
So, and then lastly, when you're ready to get into the dating scene, there's various ways, different avenues that you can take with this. Just putting yourself out there, whether it's since things are opening up, just kind of putting yourself out there, whether it's with a good church, or going to a place that, say for instance, if you like to bowl, go bowling or whatever, you may run into somebody that you like over there. Just keep in mind, wherever you go, that's the type of, that could be a product of that environment. So the female that you may pick from that particular environment may like that a lot, in terms of if you find somebody at a lounge, not saying that every girl is like this or every guy's like this, but that you run the risk that could be all that you want, as the social scene. So just be careful with that. And if all else fails, if you're a person where you don't have a lot of time, there's dating apps, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Use it to your advantage,
Yep. I would also, can I add this into as well, Maurice? Because this is kind of this better than me. The kind of women that you date, I'm assuming you want to basically marry a woman who one day could be a stepmother to your son. That has to be your daughter. That has to be the top of the list, I'm assuming, correct? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a kid, that has to be. And honestly, you shouldn't be too, as a man, you shouldn't be too eager to be like, oh, let me introduce you to my kid. Like, that is a huge privilege, and don't let any woman or man tell you otherwise, like, oh, you got a kid, so you should be wanting me to meet them. And no, that kid is the most important thing. Yep. If you're a female or a guy, that kid is the most important thing. And if you don't know without a shadow of a doubt that this is going to be the person that's in your life for the long haul, that's going to treat you right, you guys work together as a team, meaning you also treat that person right, then yeah, there shouldn't be any involvement with the kid involved or getting the kid involved. That is the most important thing whenever you're, getting out of a long-term relationship, divorce, and trying to get back on the dating scene with a kid.
Absolutely. 3 other questions more I want to ask, okay? 3 other questions. I was divorced and I went to a therapist who was a female. As a man, I found her advice to be utterly terrible, and I found her to be a toxic woman, and I no longer want to go to this particular therapist. How do you go about selecting a good therapist? So a married man, divorced, he went to a female therapist. He says the advice he was getting was utterly trash. How do you advise he find a good therapist? And then I'll answer the question, Mo.
So this one I wouldn't have a lot of experience with. To be honest, the only thing I can think of is just like with anything, shop around. If something is not quite matching up, get on the internet, shop around. I think now there's some tools out here called Better Help or Health, where the prices seem reasonable, and it seems like they do a pretty good job of matching people up, from what I've been told. So there's just different things a person can try if who you're dealing with is not quite meeting your needs.
Definitely. Well, answer that. The one of the first therapists I went to, I'll just keep it whatever. I just didn't. The advice this guy was telling me, and the cultural perspective he was coming from, and what I was coming from, it just didn't. It made literally no sense what this dude was telling me. So I basically bounced and ended up asking some actually a female therapist that I knew just from around the way, and she selected a person. She said, "Chris, I know this guy. He's from Brooklyn. I think you and this dude are gonna match up very well, just based off your personality." And I still to this day talk to that guy probably once a year, at least once a year. So yeah, just like Mo said, basically shop around. I mean, shop around. If you not getting a good vibe, I think you said you're a man and you went to a female therapist. That would be quite interesting, particularly considering the fact that you said you divorced. So whatever advice she was giving you was trash. So I'm glad you no longer go to her and basically shop around. But that's basically how I'll say that. That's how I'll say that. I've been asking a lot of questions for dudes. This is from the women. Both of you guys are tall. Both of you guys are athletic. Both of you guys make good money. Both of you guys are handsome. Both of you guys seem like great men. Where do I find good men in this toxic world that we live in? Wow. Mo, I'll let you go first with that one, okay?
Dude, honestly, I don't know. I mean,
thank you, by the way.
Honestly, this is where I'm located at right now. So I don't know about anybody else, but that's a good question. Geez, it must be hard for females. I mean, I don't know. But when it comes down to trying to find a good guy, I mean, it's honestly, man, that's a good question. Yeah, I would say it's not necessarily trying to find a good guy. It's more so of presenting yourself in a manner where a guy can easily, to some degree, approach you. I think most women feel like if a guy can easily approach them, then they're not, their value must be common, or
that, or he's a player.
Like,
that or he's a dog.
right. So like when it comes down to, like, say for instance, when it comes down to like being in the gym and things like that, gym should be a place where you can also socialize, but also get, things done. It's a place where people come together with common interest to achieve something, and that common interest happens to be getting in shape, some type of goal. So yeah, I get it, where you don't want to be bothered, maybe going through stuff, and you just kind of want to be by yourself. But I always say, if you want a friend, you got to be a friend. If you want a relationship, you got to be in a position where you're able to receive a relationship. When a guy's asking you something that may come across as basic and simple, I know it may not be the catch line or this, that, and the other. Some people like playing games and like coming up with catchy phrases, but ultimately, guys that are about their purpose and about trying to make things happen, they don't really have time to be witty and have all of this playful banter and stuff like that. That comes later. It's either are you on board or are you not? Are you I see that you're by yourself, you look cute, why don't we put something on the calendar and just kind of like link up and see where it goes. It's not like we're trying to marry you offhand. It's just literally we're putting ourselves out there to see if there's a type of connection, because the only connection that doesn't form is the one that you don't try to connect. You know what I mean? The one that you leave on the counter. When a guy comes up and he's interested in you, you can tell based on appearance, how he's approaching you. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. But you can tell based on appearance, his conversation, if he may be serious and if he may be a good quality guy that's worth entertaining. Sometimes what you allow is exactly what you get. So I just leave it as that.
Yep. Wow, we could have an entire hour-long conversation about this one. A lot of my female friends and cousins will ask me this question. I'll just say this. First off, if you live in a major metropolitan city like the Detroits, the Chicagos, the New Yorks, the Miamis, the Atlantas, the DCs, you're going to be around a lot more. There's just a lot more people there. So it kind of improves your dating options. That's one thing I'll say. So if you live in a small city, move to a big city. It's just, it sounds, but it's just a number. It's a numbers game. That's the thing. On top of that, ladies, fit, feminine, friendly. That's basically what we look for. If you're fit and you take care of your body, that's going to turn men's heads.
I agree.
You're feminine, as in you basically know how to use your feminine charms and energy to get a man's attention. You're not ultra masculine or whatever. That's a turn on for us as well. And like Mo said, be friendly, ladies. Be friendly. Nothing is worse than you walk up to a girl, you start talking to her, and she's just nasty and rude for no reason. It's just like, okay, well, have a nice day, and you go and find somebody else. So that's what I'll say. And then also I'll say this: find your tribe. Whatever your hobbies are, get involved with those hobbies. If you like hiking, if you like mountain climbing, if you like hunting, if you like fishing, whatever your hobbies are, do those hobbies, and you're gonna meet dudes who like to do those hobbies.
Right.
And that's kind of the same advice I give guys as well. Find your tribe, find what you like to do, and you're gonna meet beautiful women who like to do that as well. So, yep. And my last question, this next question, Mo, good books to read on mental health. I am a reader. I think everybody should read at least one book a week. So good books, Maurice, if you think that people should read about their mental health. Name two of them, please.
I wouldn't necessarily mention a book, but there is a podcast that I listen to on a regular basis. One of which is, I think it's, if I had to take a look at it, The Motivated Mind by Scott Lynch on Apple Podcasts. Super huge in terms of mentally getting your day started and just hearing great positive energy being poured into your mind, your heart, your body. So I typically start my day off with that. And I only say this is because lately the books that I've been reading has been more so geared towards the line of work that I'm in. And so for me, I still need to get that positive energy, that positive stuff. So podcast has been the easier route for me to get quick information since I'm juggling multiple things. So The Motivated Mind by Scott Lynch is one that I would recommend. And then there's Motivation Daily by Motiversity. So some of you guys, if you're on YouTube, you probably have come across
that. I work into that sometimes, Motiversity.
Yeah. So some of you guys have seen that before through YouTube.
That dude, that guy almost committed suicide. You know that? The Motiversity guy? Yeah. He was about to kill himself, walked to elementary school, gave a motivational speech, walked out, and the prince was like, I want to start paying you. You're a great motivational speaker. And he was like, what, really? Seriously? That's crazy, right? I used to listen. I listen to that guy when I hit the heavy bags in the morning. So yeah, it's amazing. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, those are definitely the two guys.
I would say basically read How to Win Friends and Influence People. A lot of times I mention that book to my entrepreneurs and to my financial people because once again, this is a financial channel. But having friends and having people like you is a great way to improve your mental health.
Yeah. That is true.
Natural. We are social creatures. The highest form of prison that they give prisoners and inmates is not death row, it's solitary confinement. Think about that for a minute, people. So you need to have friends. So How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is a phenomenal book. And another book I would say, read The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. That's a good book as well, as far as, okay, you are a guy in this world. How do you navigate as far as being a male in the 21st century society that we live in? So that is a phenomenal book as well. All right, Mo, our time is coming to a close, bro. Me and you could talk all night. So this has been a phenomenal thing. I've been thoroughly enjoying this back and forth. But my last question for you is this, man. When your time is set, when God calls you home and your time on this earth is past, what do you want your legacy to be?
Yeah, my legacy pretty much is I want it to be where my son knows that I was just like any other guy going through fair shares of struggles, but I never backed down. I always went through it with grace, with the right mindset. Certain things did, trip me up along the journey, but I went through the journey nonetheless. So he knows that if Dad can do it, he's more than capable and equipped to do it himself. So,
absolutely. Yep. And Christian, he always has an Uncle Chris here as well. So always, bro. Yep. We gotta do this more often, Mo. We gotta do this more often, man. Definitely. More men. We need to talk more like this. It's just as far as like life, women, girls, our careers, and everything. Because we're supposed to put this mask on about being you're athletic, you're muscular, you make a lot of money, everything is you're tall, everything goes well for you, or you basically are supposed to be this superhero, this super god. And as men, we're not allowed to really kind of be vulnerable sometimes, because we have to be strong for everybody else around us, and that's a problem in our society. So we need to have more conversations about our mental health. And I've enjoyed this. This is a conversation we need to continue having, definitely.
Definitely, man. It was a pleasure.
Yep, for sure, for sure. With that, everybody, it's your boy Chris. Once again, this channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth. But I wanted to kind of change this one up a little bit, because I don't care how much financial wealth you have. I don't care how much financial knowledge you have. If your mental health is jacked up, you are not going to build generational wealth, and you are not going to have a good life. I don't care who you are. It's as simple as that. So with that, everybody, it has truly been a pleasure. Mo, we got to do this again, man. We got to do this again, okay?
Absolutely. Hey, take care, guys. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Take it easy, everybody. Take it easy. It's your boy Chris. I'm out. Peace. Peace.